Hey guys, it's Katie with KDV Hair. Finally today, I'm gonna do a video on all the tools I get asked about and what I use on all my posts. I'm gonna break it down from the brushes, insulators, everything you need to use. So, first off, we have foils, easy. Film. This is Colortrak film. Mesh is another one. I don't have it on me right now. And then no cling film. So let's first start with these guys. So when you are balayaging, you have open air, which is sun-kissed. It's just going to give the most gentle of lift. Then you jump it up to mesh. Mesh is going to allow a little bit of airflow, but it's still going to be softer than what this guy would be. This is what you see me use all the time. This is hair coloring film. And as you can tell, it's very thin, it's light, and it's perforated, so it rips right off. Also, the big difference between the film and the control film, see how much stiffer this guy looks? And this guy's a lot lighter looking. This is what you balayage with. You don't balayage with this guy. We'll talk about this one later. So this is the one you balayage, and it's gonna come in the box. The film that you don't want to use for balayage comes in this little guy, thin like that. So you'll use plastic. I use this probably 90% of the time. It's gonna give me great lift. It's gonna insulate. It's gonna prevent it from drying out as quickly. Then if I need max lift and I'm working with a really dark color, I will balayage with these foils. These are professional hair coloring foils, but they're pop-up, so it works faster. They're embossed, so as soon as you put that lightener on there, it really sticks and it doesn't move. So with the foils, it's gonna incubate the heat. It's not gonna allow any airflow. It's really gonna help be that heavy duty, heavy lifter. And also with these foils, you're gonna do all of your foil work with them. It'll help you work faster for baby lighting, traditional highlighting. It has the folds on it. But I want to go back to the film because that's what everyone asks me about. That's the biggest question. Okay, so this film that I use is from Colortrak. It's perforated, super light. When you're balayaging, if you're using anything that is heavy, even sometimes the sticky plastic wrap, it can pull and it can create color to go through and give you splotchy results. So that's why I have seen several people thinking that I use this guy. I do, but not for balayage, because it's a little bit sturdier, and I feel like when you have a bunch of them stacked up, it can get pretty heavy on the hair. It's not as easy to work with balayage versus this guy. I literally just pull it from the box, rip it, and go. With these guys, they are individually in the box. They're stacked like that, so you pull them one by one. And so when would these guys be used? I use these guys with any color work. A lot of vivid work, so if you're doing purples, unicorn colors, I do this with like if I'm balayaging colors, so like a red head that I'm balayaging on, it's heavier, it's gonna keep the color from touching itself. It's just, that's what its purpose is for. So we've gone over just a quick touch base on the film, the other film, and the foil, and the mesh. I don't have the mesh on me, but the other thing you need to make sure when you're purchasing it, you're going to see color control film. Color control film, okay? This one is cling free film and in a box. This is what you balayage with. All right, so the next up for tools, just like when you do your makeup, you have to have the right brush to apply the right eyeshadows and the right foundations and the right contour. Well, hair is no different. So when you're reaching for brushes, there is a brush for everything. So for example, this bad boy. See how wide this guy is compared to this little baby right here? So what do you think this guy would be used for? This one's gonna be used for roots, but there's two different brushes I use for roots. This one, it's super soft. It's really fluffy. You can just feel it, very soft. The other root one I have is this one. Same size, but its bristles are much stiffer. This one feels like your traditional color brushes. This one's softer. So if I'm wanting to do a root melt, a tap root, anything root melty, soft, extra large, cuts down on time and is gonna blend it. This guy here with the tighter bristles on it, great for gray coverage because you wanna make sure you have a lot of color on it where you can fully saturate those grays and make sure you press down into it. So this will be what you do for that for gray coverage. Next up, this guy. So as you can see, this one has the comb and then the brush on it. This one is used a lot for color. So if I'm doing an all over color on the mids and ends, to comb the color through your mids and ends, you're gonna save color. It's great for blending and melting. If you've washed out your blonde and you're ready to do some melted work, these guys are fabulous because when you brush in one color and melt it into the next, it's gonna help with seamless results melting this brush. Next up, this guy. It's just a little baby. It's even tinier, so as you can see, next to this guy, this is what all hair color brushes used to be. This traditional, one size, stiff bristle, this was traditional. So you can see how tiny this guy is, but you can also see in there, focus, it has 2 rows. This one just has its single row. So this one right here is great for detail work. So if you're detailing that front hairline, tiny little foils, something that you just need to finesse with, this is what you want to use. So you can really get in there and not have a big one that you're trying to paint on that hairline and it might be touching on other areas of the hair that you don't. This guy will make sure you're just getting in that small area. Moving into balayage, my favorite. Okay, so with balayage, when you go to balayage somebody's hair, you need to know their hair texture. Is it baby soft like cotton hair? Is it fine hair? Is it medium hair? Is it coarse hair? Depending on their hair is gonna be the brush I grab for. So if they have baby, like, you know, that cotton soft hair and you're wanting to paint it, do not reach for this big boy. It's gonna be too heavy, too much. It's gonna put on a lot of product and just, you're gonna have splotches and it's gonna be a nightmare. So when you're working on someone with that sort of hair, I'll generally reach for, oh gosh, his little brushes got messed up in my bag. But this soft guy, he's super thin. It's made out of bamboo. So the brush itself is very light, which is gonna help you have those extra light strokes. Another option is sponges. I don't have any of my sponges on me, but you can use a sponge on those really fine baby soft hair. Then when you move up to the fine hair, I'll use this guy and then I'll jump up to this guy. This has been what brushes switched over to when everything used to be just this guy. Then all of a sudden balayage came in and this guy came out and this one came out. But this is a super, it's just soft, it's feathery, and so when you paint, it really does the blending for you. It's light, it can get in those roots without creating splotches. You can use this one on almost every single client. If you use this on somebody who has thick and coarse hair, you're just gonna have to work a little bit harder and load it up a little bit more. So I'd use this one for anyone with baby fine to medium hair, soft, and how you'll know is the size of it. So it's like a traditional size and you can feel the bristles. The bristles are just very soft. They don't have the stiff bristle feel that you get from this guy. So then after that fine to medium hair, the Power Painter brush. You have seen these before. As a balayage artist, I used to paint with brushes from Home Depot. Yeah, the chip brushes, because they just give that like beautiful blend, super soft. However, the downside, they didn't last long. You could maybe get like 2 services out of it and you had to buy a ton of them because when that wood gets wet, it's bad. So this one right here, made by Colortrak, has the bamboo handle. Very light, so it's good on our hands, helps with light brush strokes. But as you can see, let me move it closer, it looks just like a paintbrush you would use to paint your walls. But it's very soft and it's floaty and it's gonna blend. So you can use this on medium to coarse hair. On the medium hair, just be very, very gentle with your strokes and don't overload. This can hold a lot more product than this guy. So that's why this one's really good. When you have somebody that has a lot of hair, you're covering a lot, you wanna get those natural blends, it's really gonna do the work for you. I grab this one probably 50% of the time and the other 50%, It's this guy right here. Then that's it for balayage with like the brushes, the tools. It's making sure when you start your service, you know how blonde they want to go. And based off that, you're going to grab what insulator you need. Then after your insulator, you're going to grab what brush you need. And the brush, you have to really know, like the softer, the smaller, the lighter weight, you're going to want to use that on somebody that has like no hair or baby fine hair, so it's not pushing on too much product and pushing it through. So just be very aware of your tool choices when you're working, because that can make or break a service. It's just like when you're cooking food, there's a tool for everything. You're not going to use a huge chopping knife and try to prune something with it. You're going to want a pruning knife. So same thing with balayage and any sort of color work. You're going to want to make sure you use the right tool for it. Now, if you're just doing a basic foil and you're wanting to work fast and make sure that it's blending good, my foil work, I'll pull out this guy. I love having a soft brush when I have foils, because when I get up to that root, I'm really feathering it so we can prevent any foil lines. When I used to use traditional brushes that were stiffer, it's a little bit more difficult to get that blend line that you want when you're working with the foils. So I'll use this guy. Also with foils, if I am just like packing in those foils and I'm wanting her to get as blonde as I can, and I know that I'm going to be melting and I'm not too worried about it, then I'm going to grab this guy. It can hold so much product. You load it into that bowl once, you can get through that full foil. Instead of having to take this guy, sometimes I have to dip it back into my color bowl a few times in that single foil just to make sure I have enough product in it. This one, you dip it in, work, it's gonna cover it, it's gonna get it done. It's gonna cut down on your time. And that's what brushes help with so much as well, as cutting down on your time. When you use the right one, you can cut down that time, just like with the extra large. Like these guys are large, so you can hit that root so much faster. Back in the day, God, I feel old, when I had to use this guy, it took an extra 15, sometimes 20 minutes more to use this little guy compared to this big boy right here. It just covers more space. And also, you know, cutting down on time. If you're doing a melt, if you're using this stiffer brush and you're trying to get that perfect melt, you're gonna have to really work at it more, versus you go at that root with this soft bristle that just really just melts it for you. You don't have to really work. You apply it, and as you're going, it's just melting that color through. It's not being stiff or abrasive. So with any of your color work, it's just being really smart on using the right brush. I don't just grab stuff because I'm like, ooh, this looks cool and it looks fancy and I'm gonna use it. No, there's a reason why. I will do open air balayage. I will only do that once in a blue moon, and it's for those clients that just want that soft touch, like 1 or 2 levels at the most you're gonna get from them. It looks like they've been out in the sun, it's brightened them. It's gonna give them a little bit more dimension, and that's the only time you're really not gonna use any insulator. Sometimes I'll just use the cotton for that. Majority of the time you will see balayage done with plastic, because it gives it enough insulation that it slows down the drying out of the clay balayage, because the clay for balayage, it's meant to harden and dry on the outside and incubate the inside. So if we can slow down that drying process, because you need it to lift longer and not dry out so soon, that's why you grab a different insulator. So when I grab for my plastic, it's because I don't want that open air. I need some more lift. I want to stop that drying out process, but I want to use that clay lightener because it's so beautiful with the blends and working it and doing the balayage, versus using a traditional lightener. Several artists do, but it's a little bit more work sometimes to get those blends because it's a little bit more runny. So with the clay lightener, using the proper insulator with those guys, since they do dry and harden on the outside, is really smart. You know, if you have someone that's dark and they're needing to get some lift, and you know balayage, you get about 4 lifts out of it if you're good, 4 levels. So if you grab for your foils, and you can get some of that heat coming from their head and you're preventing that flow, that's when I'll grab the I can't say foils. Foils. So you'll grab the foils. And then when you need something that's a little bit more sturdy and stiffer and you're doing your color work, that's when I will use the color control film. Get the word control. So you're gonna have more control with this guy. And like I said, I'm not a fan of it with my balayage work because everything's about light and not going through. And I do feel like these guys can get kind of heavy. And also they just come out in a single sheet. Sometimes with this guy, with the no cling film, let me see if I can get it pulled out without ripping it. You can just keep pulling this guy and you can rip it where you need it. So you're not stuck on such a shape with it. So yeah, that's just a little bit of my 101 with my tools and why I use what I use and where you can get them. And everyone asks where you can get the tools and the plastic that I use. It's Colortrak. Colortrak, you guys. It is the best tool company. I love them. You can go directly to their website at colortrak.com, order it from them, or you can go to your local beauty distributor. I know Cosmoprof, Salon Centric, it's hit or miss depending in your area if they do have it. But if you have a rep that comes to you, ask for the Colortrak Clean Free Film. That's what I balayage with. And then really look at all the brushes that you have. And next time when you grab them, know you're grabbing the brush for the right reason. That was fun. And if you're asking why my hair isn't done, and why I'm in a hoodie, today is Mother's Day, and I really wanted to get this video done, and I did not feel like doing my hair, my makeup, the whole shebang. And this is a video I've been promising so many people that I get out. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, like it, and comment below if there is other stuff that you want me to go over, because I'm gonna start trying to make sure I do it and hold myself to it every Sunday. I'm gonna try and upload new content, whether it's a application, if it's formulation. I get a lot of questions on like glosses, shades of Q, different lighteners. I'm just gonna go over a ton of product knowledge, give it to you guys because I think knowledge is power, and that's the best thing we can do behind the chair is just really educate ourselves. And this is my free gift to you guys, is just to give you all I can. So yeah.